Now,
more seriously addictive music
with Ken Sweeney.
Radio Nova.
The noise.
Play today and more than €39,000 could be yours.
On Radio Nova.
It's a gas.
My heart is beating up so fast, I feel the hours crashing. Now my mind beats time like clockwork, and I think insane like clockwork. She's done away with emotion. She sees things clearly now. She sees it all from her room, and it looks so small from her room. It's alright, it's alright, it's alright, it's alright. I'm on your side for a while. She thinks the time is the concept which we measure our age. She wants to say it again, but she don't have time because her mind needs time like clockwork.
Oh, a little bit of pop trivia for you. Like Clockwork, the very first song played on 2FM. Can you imagine that all the way back in those days? You wouldn't hear much Boontown Rats on 2FM now, I don't think. But listen, I'm really enjoying that. And you're on the Radio Nova Guestlist. I'm Ken Sweeney, so playing a few tracks here. Lovely text in from a North Sea legend, Daddy O'Shea. And geez, Daddy, I'm looking at the heat outside. I'm feeling the heat. And I'm thinking, you're going into a tent to host a roast tree in a couple of weeks. Oh my God, how hot can that be? But listen, thanks very much for a bit like Dave Fanning, Daddy O'Shea. He's exactly the same guy off screen as he is on. I can tell you that because that's the gig I'm in. Listen, I'm going to play one of my favourite artists, a guy who's been described as the Brian Wilson of home recording. It's a band called East River Pipe. East River Pipe is a guy called FM Cornog, and he's a fabulous musician, singer-songwriter, works on an 8-track machine, and just wonderful, evocative music. And people like all sorts of people like David Byrne and Talking Heads are fans. So East River Pipe, Make a Deal with the City. That was really good. East River Pipe on Sarah Records, actually. What a song, what a tune. So actually I was just surfing through, I don't know, social media during the week, and what have I come across but Pete Hook, and he was playing this, and I just thought, God, for a guy of 70 he can really do it, because I think New Order are touring now. There's just one guy left in it, but listen, if they could get back with Pete Hook, they certainly have the engine back in the car. So Love Will Tear Us Apart, and it's Pete Hook on bass.
This Sunday on Radio Nova's classic album at midnight. We're going back 60 years to a big British blues classic.
All the loving is loving.
It saw John Mayall team up with a young Eric Clapton to showcase their talents with a collection of originals and blues standards.
And no, it ain't right just to treat me this way.
And produce a critical and commercial triumph. Blues Breakers is our classic album this Sunday night. Join Nova's Pat James from midnight as he sets it up and plays it straight from vinyl.
The classic album.
Sunday to Thursday at midnight on Radio Nova.
Most travel insurers see your lost bag as a lost bag. But VHI Multi-Trip sees the head melt, the lost party dress, the ugh. With coverage of all your trips all year from €63, there'll be less melted heads and more melted ice cream. VHI Multi-Trip. That's how VHI does travel insurance. Terms and conditions apply. Prices for adults 18 to 64. VHI Healthcare DAC trading as VHI Healthcare is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland and is tied to Collinson Insurance Europe Limited for VHI Multi-Trip travel insurance.
Did you pass through the M50 toll yesterday? The clock is ticking. You have just under 1 hour left to pay your toll and avoid unnecessary fines. Register for M50 video tolling with eFlow today so you can pay your tolls automatically and cancel the countdown. Brought to you in association with Radio Nova.
There once was a place called Swords Pavilions. We shopped and ate till we had our fill again. They added more shops and our bags did fill again. Good old Swords Pavilions begin again.
We've always had great food, fab shopping, the latest films and 2 hours free parking. You can now roll up for sushi at Umai, get active at Zero Latency and Leisure Box and unwind at the Sauna Village.
Sing it with me. There once was...
And now, back to more seriously addictive music
On the Nova Guest List with Ken Sweeney.
Radio Nova.
Monstrous, isn't it? Joy Division, Love Will Tear Us Apart. Listen, coming up shortly, we've got the interview with Nige Tassel, who's written this book on Prefab Sprout, Truly Gifted Kids. As you know, Prefab Sprout have great Irish descendancy, ancestry, and some fabulous albums. And Nigel's kind of straight up guy. He's talking very rather than reflecting too much on it, he's done a book of essays and it's really fantastic. So I was chatting to him. So that's coming up. And listen, just to sort of set the scene here, I thought we'd get into the opening tracks on one of the opening track on Steve McQueen. This is Bonnie by Prefab Sprout.
Spend the days with my vanity. I'm lost in heaven and I'm lost to earth. Didn't give you minutes, not even moments. All my life in a tower of form. Shaded feelings, I don't believe you. When you were there before my eyes, no one planned it, took it for granted. I count the hours since you slipped away. The hours that I lie awake, I count the minutes and the seconds too. All I stole and I took from you, but Barney don't live at home. Barney don't live at home. Words don't hold you, broken soldiers.
Prefab Sprout's amazing album, Steve McQueen. So, new book out, Nige Tassel, Truly Gifted Kids, and I spoke to Nige during the week about his new book on Prefab Sprout. I just love, Prefab Sprout. Every album, so different. And I suppose the thing that amazes me is, firstly, about your book, you didn't do a kind of a chronological thing about Prefab Sprout. This is a book of essays. Why did you choose to do that about Prefab Sprout?
The traditional thing when you write a book about a band that's been around for 30, 40 years is to do a chronological survey of them. It's a biography, basically. Whereas the Sprouts, they operated very differently. They didn't do album tour. And so it wouldn't be that high octane a ride. They spent sort of 7 years between albums. Yeah. So those 7 years would be me writing about Paddy McAloon sitting at his kitchen table, writing songs, and they didn't tour. In 85, then high success through the late 80s, didn't tour until 1990. then didn't tour till 2000 and haven't played live since then. So it's not exactly Keith Moon or Led Zeppelin on the road. You know, these aren't high tales of rock and roll hedonism. So instead, I did something to try to mirror what they do. They do things out of sync and esoteric things, and albums get released out of order. So it was a more of a kaleidoscopic thing. It's sort of a collage is how I termed it, of little essays, and I do an essay on each of the albums, and they're presented chronologically. So there is a broad chronology, but I like going down the side alleys and the back roads, which is kind of reflective of the band, really, I think.
Yeah, I suppose the amazing thing is, you know, given that first album on Kitchenware, the fact that CBS were willing to sign them for like 8 albums, I mean, that, you know, and actually Paddy McAloon and Prefab Sprout delivered 8 albums. That's a lot of foresight from Muff Winwood at CBS, who originally signed them.
Absolutely, you know, because that first album is very esoteric, you know, and it's not as mainstream and bright and chirpy as sort of the later stuff and the hits that people will remember them for. So I went and visited Muff. He lives in, you know, he's in his 80s now, was a great A&R man for CBS, you know, signed Sade and people like that. So had some really big success there, which helped to kind of underwrite. It kind of allowed him to take a punt on more esoteric bands like the Sprouts. But yes, that was I went to the Muffs. I asked him lots of questions, but there was one overriding question. It's like, what on earth made you sign this band who just recorded this album in a house, basically, in Edinburgh? It's in a studio, but in a residential street in Edinburgh. It's very scratchy, quite primitive, complicated arrangements, esoteric lyrics, to say the least. What on earth, you know, to sign them to the house of Shakin' Stevens and Sade and The Clash? Yeah. And it was just because you've answered it. You've answered your own question, because they were so different. Yeah. So, and because he just had a bottom line he had to hit with the people above him. And so Sade was racking up the big hits in sort of 84. And that allowed him to take a punt and have some fun with an esoteric band who then, you know, he managed to mould into a top 10 pop hit band as well. Absolute serendipity was the record. So the first proper CBS single, Don't Sing, the first song off Spoon, was on Radio 1's Roundtable, the record review show, with Tony Blackburn was on there and Murray Wilson and Thomas Dolby. And he didn't like any of the songs that happened to be on, and then they played this and said, who are this? This is fantastic. Up in County Durham, the McAloon brothers are listening in, going, oh, he likes this. And they were actually needed a keyboard player. They originally thought of him as, he could be our keyboard player, because I've seen him playing synths on Top of the Pops, whatever, you know, and he was known for his, you know, hyperactive and She Blinded Me with Science at that point, which were, you know, quite quirky, but not quirky in a Sprouts way. But yes, what a marriage that was. And Thomas goes up to Durham. Paddy plays him in his tiny bedroom, plays him 40-odd songs. Thomas records them just on his little Walkman, listens to them on the train back. And to be fair, Paddy gave him, not carte blanche, but, you know, you shape the album, you choose the songs. Yeah. Because Paddy was so close to the songs, and it turns out Thomas selected some of the old songs from sort of the late 70s, which if Paddy were writing the track listing himself, he wouldn't have gone for. So he gave over a lot of artistic control to Thomas, and what a fabulous result, what a fabulous meeting of minds it was. Yeah, you think of a song like Bonnie, which I think they'd been playing live for years, and it's just blows your mind. I did laugh, you know, that When Love Breaks Down, that was going to be called Old Confetti, it was said. Exactly. Well, this is interesting, you know, because Paddy they put Swoon out. He wrote When Love Breaks Down at the point that Swoon was being recorded or soon to be released. Yeah. And he kind of, I think, understood that he had to write something a bit more mainstream, a bit more, you know, open, you know, less esoteric. And so he writes When Love Breaks Down, and the Paddy of a year before would have called it Old Confetti, because that's one of the lines in it. So you're slightly figurative of what you do, and instead he says, no, we've got a chorus that repeats this phrase, so the song should be called that. And to his respect, you know, he could have been a control freak and just saying artistically everything is my way or the highway, but he listened to Muff Winwood a lot. Muff would say, put the big singles first early on the album, which they always did, you know. So as great works of art they are, he's also always had one eye on commerciality. You know, I remember the first interview I ever read with him in the Face magazine, 1984. I can remember the quote because it was, "I'm not in it for the girls, but I'm not averse to the money. I know what it's like to have an overdraft." You know, and I think for all that he works, you know, in splendid isolation up in County Durham, just him, his hardware and his guitar and his piano. He's aware of the wider world and what he needs to do in order to have hits, because at that point, people didn't have hits. You had a hit, you'd sold out to the man, you know?
Yeah.
He was supposed to be kind of obscure, but he went the other way because he's a man of his own thoughts and free thinking, and, you know, what's wrong with having a hit and having some money and some royalties coming in so you can then go off and do more artistic stuff if you want?
Together, but often we're apart. Absence makes the heart lose weight, yeah. Till love breaks down, love breaks down. The sweet September rain, rain on me like no other. Until I drown, until I drown. When love breaks down, the things you do to stop the truth from hurting you. When love breaks down, the lies we tell, they only serve to fool ourselves. When love breaks down, the things you do to stop the truth from hurting you. When love breaks down, when love breaks down. My love and I, we are boxing clever. She'll never crowd me out. Fall, be free as old confetti, and paint the town, paint the town. When love breaks down, the things you do to stop the truth from hurting you. When love breaks down, the lies we tell, they only serve to fool ourselves. When love breaks down, the things you do to stop the truth from hurting you. When love breaks down, the lies we tell, they only serve to fool ourselves. When love breaks down, the things you do to stop the truth from hurting you. When love breaks down, you join the wrecks who leave their hearts for easy sex. When love breaks down, when love breaks down.
Prefab Sprout, When Love Breaks Down. This is fabulous. Listen, you're listening to the guest list on Radio Nova. So listen, we're talking to Nigel Tass, who's got a new book about Prefab Sprout out. And obviously we're racing through it here because obviously Prefab Sprout of Langley Park to Memphis in 1988, Jordan to come back in 1990, and then I Trolled the Megahertz, and obviously that comes at a time when Paddy McAloon, the front man and main composer on Prefab Sprout, he's dealing with kind of health difficulties. So we're going to go into some of that now with Nige Tassel. We go back to I Trolled the Megahertz. Obviously Paddy has had hearing difficulties and health difficulties, and that was the reason for I Trolled the Megahertz, and also his withdrawal from Prefab Sprout. You know that meant that he had to concentrate more on writing songs and just working in the studio. Yes,
there were two main afflictions, illnesses that he had. So he had problems with his eyes, detached retinas in both eyes and in one eye twice, which meant he had to sit in a darkened room, lie down in a darkened room for months and months on end. Couldn't even kind of sit up and lean forward. So he would listen to a lot of radio, and he started sampling bits off the radio and again, assembling a collage of these things. And it's an extraordinary album. It's unlike anything. Originally released under his own name because it was so different from Prefab Sprout. It has been reissued under the band's name since. But yeah, you talked about the startup album, putting out different albums, not one album sounding like the next. And that is the most left field. But I think it is one of the most enduring works of art that he's done. And then after that, he developed Meniere's disease, which is an affliction of the ear and affects balance, and he had awful, terrible tinnitus for a long time. It's much better now, but it still means he has difficulties with his hearing. He can't play with other people, basically. You know, he can't be in a room, and this is why he's not played live since the last 2-3 Prefab albums under the Prefab Sprout moniker have effectively been solo works that no one else in the band is part of, because he can't sit in the room and just play with a bass guitar or a drum kit in there because, his hearing is distorted or he can't. Yeah,
but I suppose it's his imagination. And the thing that I loved, which I didn't know in your book really, was that Paddy McAloon has spent most of his life living in the northeast of England. I mean, Prefab Sprout didn't even tour in America, and yet Paddy McAloon can write things, like Hey Manhattan, even though he's never spent time in New York.
Yeah, I love that. I'm comparing to Randy Newman in the book, because Randy Newman, his home turf is a few square miles in LA, largely. But he writes these wonderful elegiac songs about other parts of America, America back in time, but also geographically different to him. And I think that's with Paddy. It's that, as you say, it's that imagination, imagining what it's like to land in Manhattan and this extraordinary city is right in front of you, and that's, and this is your chance to make your way in the world. But America does fascinate him, even though, as you say, they never toured. They recorded there, quite a bit of Langley Park to Memphis was recorded in LA because Thomas Dolby was out there working in Hollywood at the time. But yes, I just love that aspect. He's such a home bird. He still lives in the family home up in County Durham that the whole McAloon family moved to in sort of the early 80s, I think it was. But they were only moved from a nearby village anyway. So, and he went to Newcastle Polytechnic, so he's largely never been away, and I like that aspect, that he doesn't feel he has to play the game. He didn't have to move to London, didn't have to move to LA, but he's there, and that's, as I say, in that splendid isolation, letting his imagination run riot and giving us this wonderful, wonderful music.
Long may it continue. So the book is Truly Gifted Kids, a book about Prefab Sprout by Nige Tassel. I absolutely love it. Thank you so much, Nige, for talking to me. And my own favourite Prefab Sprout album is Andromeda Heights. So I'm going to play that. It's a summer's night here, Sunday night in Dublin. So we're going to play this for Dee. We're going to play this for Dee, and we're going to talk about Johnny Fox's pub, which is up in the mountains, and wonderful summers up in Johnny Fox's pub. Listen to Andromeda Heights when it came out, and this is from that album.
Whoever you are, I am looking for you on street after street, in bar after bar. Never
Oh wow, isn't that just gorgeous? Prefab Sprout from Andromeda Heights. I really love that. Listen, later in the show we've got an interview with Graham Thompson about his new book on Talk Jock. If whoever my favourite band is, Graham Thompson's writing a book about it, that would really cheer me up. So this is fabulous. We've also got Dead Cap for Cutie coming up, and we've got The Who, My Generation as well. I was thinking I'd moved a lot of my CDs up to the attic, and some of them just in the latter parts, like the XYZ, and I thought, oh, hang on, the Beatles, the Heat, in the house, the Beatles, the Birds, they're downstairs, they'll be okay. It's only the last couple of letters of the alphabet had moved up to the attic, which is boiling now, the CDs. The Who are in the attic. So back after the ad break with a classic track from The Who on Brunswick Records.
He's been filling arenas for 40 years, playing to tens of millions of fans. But this weekend on Radio Nova...
My name is Brian. I'm your singer for this evening.
He's all yours.
Make a date with the Brian Adams Radio Show. He's here to share some of his favourite tracks,
along with stories and memories from the studio to the stage.
Up next, we have a song by Depeche Mode, one of the greatest bands to ever build their sound around a synthesizer. I don't want to tell Duran Duran that, but they're an amazing band.
The Brian Adams Radio Show.
Seriously Addictive, Saturdays from 6 p.m. and Sunday evenings from 9. Right here on Radio Nova.
Summer confidence starts in winter. At River Medical, our team of medical professionals can help with cellulite, skin laxity and stubborn fat through advanced treatments like Cool Sculpt, Lanluma and Secret RF. Get started today and step into summer feeling sculpted, confident and refreshed. To book a consultation with a member of our team, visit rivermedical.ie. River Medical. Confidence in cosmetic care.
According to Brainiac experts, your phobia isn't rational. Apparently, your fear is bigger than the thing you're scared of. That doesn't explain excessophobia, the fear of being ripped off abroad for car hire excess insurance, especially when a €250 quote at the car rental desk is worse than you feared. What is rational is carhireexcess.ie, where you'd only pay $48.99 for a year of excess insurance before you travel. Get cover for loads less with carhireexcess.ie. Prices correct as of March 18th, 2026. Carhireexcess.ie excess cover quote is based on European annual cover. Car rental excess cover quote is Hertz compact vehicle range picking up at Barcelona Airport from 4th to 10th of April. Covermore Blue Insurance Services Limited, trading as carhireexcess.ie, is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
And now, back to more seriously addictive music
on the Nova Guest List with Ken Sweeney.
Radio Nova.
People try to put us to down, talking about my generation, just because we get around. Talking about my generation, things they do look awful. Talking about my generation, I hope I die before I get old. Talking about my generation, this is my generation, baby. Why don't you all fade away? Don't try to dig what we all say. I'm not trying to cause a big sensation. I'm just talking about my generation. My generation. This is my generation, baby. Don't you all fade away? Don't try to dig what we all say. I'm trying to cause a big sensation. Just talking about my generation. My generation. This is my generation, baby. My generation. Try to put us to down, talking about my generation, just because we could get around. Talking about my generation, things they do look awful cold. My generation, I hope I die before I get old. My
Seriously addictive.
Radio Nova. The Nova Guest List with Ken Sweeney.
On Radio Nova. Seriously addictive.
the tranquility of solitude. Getting a cab in, travelling on buses. Read no graffiti about classic affairs. I say that's entertainment. That's entertainment.
This is the Nova Guest List. Radio Nova. Seriously addictive.
Eyes see a face. Stones throw embrace. Child sees a scar. We survive unknown in our hearts, but I can't seem to wake from this, searching for confidence. I worship the ground my angel is found, all alone on the longest day. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Love takes a man and builds his sweet plan. But don't fear despair. Dream on, angel, sleep by your stair. I just can't seem to wake from this, circles of holiness. I worship the ground my angels found, all alone on the longest day. There you come to my mind. There you walk sober streets late at night. I won't scare, I won't even run. In this autumn place, the leaves won't change now. Eyes see a face. Stones throw embrace. Embrace.
Something about Carl Patterson's voice. I just love that. The longest day, Carl Patterson. Listen, this is the Nova Guest List. I'm Ken Sweeney, and keep listening.
Nova Drive with Pat Courtney.
On this day in 2003, a freight train carrying thousands of bottles of Guinness derailed in Staffordshire, leaving loads of them overturned at the side of the track, ruined. Well, yeah, hello, it's Guinness. You're supposed to crash the train slowly. You know, don't rush it.
Driving you home. Weekdays from 3 on Radio Nova.
With the Honda HR-V, the full hybrid machine designed for everyday life, delivering a dynamic electrified performance. Find out more at honda.ie.